Y'all know what time it is. Back with another one. I know y'all miss me. I ain't been making these. I've been posting shorts, but I ain't been making no longer videos. This one ain't gonna be that long, but we still back in the olden days. We back where there's gonna be unknowns and imported still, but we gonna get up there for y'all newer people later. But we gotta start from the beginning. If you don't start from the beginning, you ain't really History Channel. You starting where you want to. We gonna start from the beginning, get on that. There's so many dogs. Yeah, I mean, we just giving love to the classics. So we got old Grand Champ Henry here, imported Grand Champ Henry's imported Richmond. 8-timer. It's a bulldog. And what I like about this bulldog is just you can see the heavy bull terrier in him. Like I said, if y'all been looking at some of my videos, the beginning of the American Pit Bull Terriers, Staffordshire Terriers, Amherstshire Terriers. I think the cross that they use, especially for the American Pit Bull Terriers in general, is but we all know, they come from crosses from the Amstaffs and Staffordshire Terriers too. If you've been looking at the channel, but the three dogs, you got bulldogs, you got bull terriers, and then you got the boxer. And then, like you said, you can, depending on what you want to do, it's your dogs. You can take them. They imported, so you don't know what these things, how they was crossing them, and what they was putting in them to make them like they are. But they're a bulldog. You see, whatever they did, it worked. That's all that matter. As long as it's bulldog and as long as it worked. Back in them days before they started becoming what they was. But they cared about just making good dogs. And, this dog you can see, you can take them more bulldoggy, more bull terrier, more boxer, or more whatever you trying to do. And they look like they took him with the heavy, heavy bull terrier, from what I see. Look like it's got a lot in them. And it could even be a red nose, maybe, who knows. But I like this look. This is my type of look. I got dogs kind of look like that. Kind of got that look. I done had some look like that. Maybe have a little bit of brown in them. Not all as white, but mostly white. Like that. Maybe have a cow patch on their eye. But yeah, that's my type of looking dog right there. Oh, imported Richmond. Grand Champion. So yeah, he need a little shout out. Just going to be short and quick. But we're going to try to get going and making some consistent videos now. I'm about to get, my hours up so I can go ahead and get a little check from YouTube. So I might as well get going for the New Year's. So we got Birmingham Jack as the sire, as the daddy. Ain't going to say much about him. And, we can click on just for the heck of it. But, only 8,000 times. Jack, nothing about him too much. But that's the daddy. We'll give a little shout out that made him. He must have been a bulldog too, could produce him. He made a nice one. And then we got Merville made. And, we don't know what these dogs really was because they was unknown and imported. This one could have been heavier this or this, heavier bulldog or heavier whatever, a boxer or bull terrier, and this one could have been heavier this or that too. You never know. But Merville made was the dame. And but White Demon was her daddy. And Lady Elwyn was her mama. But it ain't nothing to them, And it was imported. So we just got the names at least that you can do some research if you really want to. And you probably could find something on them maybe. But, 1,700 times viewed. Ain't nobody paying no attention to that. 6,000 times viewed. Ain't nobody paying attention to Merville May. But she is history, Some of that imported stuff, that's where it started from. Lady Elwyn, 1,400. Ain't got no views, Nobody clicking back here to look at that history, but I'm going to show you on this channel because that's the Bulldog History channel. So we're just giving them a little shout out. The owner was Frank and Henry. Frank G. Henry. Male white. This was only seen 56,000 times. So just going to give a little shout out on the Bulldog History. A little quick little video. Get me started for the new year. And we coming with another one soon, and I'm gonna try to hopefully do a little more and get this thing going so the history channel can have, some good history dogs up there. Mostly dogs you won't see on other channels, you'll see on this one. And then we'll start getting to the newer ones and the more fine ones that people know. And you'll start seeing some of these dogs in the, fourth generation, third generation. And you'll say, okay, I see what he's doing. If the people that's watching it, I appreciate y'all watching it and supporting. And the few people that comment and all that, I appreciate it. We're going to get it cracking. It ain't we bubbling slow, but we're going to get it cracking. We like a good meal now. It take a little while for it to cook for it's real ready to take off, but we're going to get there. But yeah, Bulldog History Channel, imported Richmond, 8-timer, grand champion. Give them some love. See y'all soon. Peace.